He made me believe I was crazy, but turns out I was right all along. I am still trying to process how I let it go on for so long. 15 years of my life, wasted on a man who was secretly leading a double life. We lived in a rural farming community in the Midwest where everyone knows everyone. Or so I thought. Eric and I had a good life, or at least I thought we did. He was my husband, my partner, my best friend. We had our ups and downs like any couple, but I loved him with all my heart. When he got his big promotion at work, I was over the moon for him. I thought this was our chance to finally start living the life we'd always dreamed of. But looking back, that's when things started to change. He became distant, preoccupied. His schedule became unpredictable and constantly changing. He'd tell me he had to work late, but I would get a text from him at 3 in the morning saying he was stuck in a meeting. I tried to brush it off as work stress, but deep down I knew something was off. He started comparing me unfavorably to other women, making snide comments about my appearance, my cooking, my everything. I tried to talk to him about it, but he'd just tell me I was being paranoid, that I was jealous. He made me doubt myself, my own perceptions. And then there was the money. He became secretive about his finances, always whispering on the phone, always deleting his texts. I tried to ask him about it, but he'd just tell me not to worry about it, that he had it under control. I should have pushed harder, but I did not want to be that woman, the one who's always nagging her husband about money. But the final straw was when I noticed he'd removed his wedding ring. He said it was just a stupid habit, that he'd get it back on eventually. But I knew better. Something was very wrong. It was not until I saw his Apple Watch notifications on my phone that I realized the truth. So, he'd been using my credit cards to fund his affairs. 4 years, that's how long it had been going on. 4 years of my life, wasted on a man who was secretly leading a double life. I felt like I would been punched in the gut. I could not breathe. I could not think. All I could do was scroll through the notifications, my mind reeling with the implications. And then, I saw her. The other woman. He'd given her an engagement ring identical to mine. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. I knew I had to get to the bottom of it, but I was scared. I was scared of what I might find, scared of what it might mean for our marriage, for my life. So I did the only thing I could think of. I hired a private investigator to confirm my suspicions. But before I got the investigator's report, I got a message from the other woman herself. She said she knew about me, about our marriage, and she wanted to warn me. She said Eric was using her, just like he'd used me. I was torn between anger and sadness. How could he do this to me, to us? The investigator's report confirmed everything I suspected. Eric had been leading a double life, using my money, my credit cards to fund his affairs. I felt like I would been living in a dream that had been shattered. I knew I had to confront him, but I was not going to do it alone. I gathered my friends, my family, and we planned an intervention. I was scared, but I was also angry. I was angry that he'd made me doubt myself. Angry that he'd wasted my time, my love. The confrontation was intense. Eric tried to deny it, to downplay it, but I had proof. I had the notifications, the investigator's report, and I had my own 2 eyes. He broke down eventually, confessing everything. "You made me feel like I was crazy," I said, my voice shaking with rage. "You made me doubt myself, my own perceptions. But I'm not crazy. I am just a woman who's been betrayed by the man she loved." He looked at me, tears in his eyes, but I did not care. I did not care about his feelings. Not now. I cared about mine, about healing, about moving on. It was not easy, but I did it. I stood up for myself, for my own worth. I realized that I would been living in a toxic relationship, a relationship that had slowly drained my sense of self-worth and identity. But I was taking back control. I was taking back my life. As I look back, I realized that I had a lot to lose. I had my green card, which depended on our marriage. But I also had my dignity, my self-respect. And I was not going to let him take that away from me. I am not the same woman I was 15 years ago. I am stronger, wiser. I've been through hell and back, but I am still standing. And I am grateful for that. In the end, I found a sense of resolution, of empowerment. I realized that I did not need him to validate me, to make me whole. I was already whole, already enough. And for that, I am eternally grateful.